Hello beautiful people, and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video we're going to be talking about my monthly reads, and it's actually equally divided. So I have 3 physicals, 3 Kindle, and 3 audiobooks this month. So I love that it ended up coming out that way. So let's just jump into the statistics real quick. So for the month of May, like I said, I read 9 books, 3,500 pages. They were all fiction books, 6 romance. A lot for me. Oh my gosh, who am I? Format, so 2,293 physical pages and then 33.73 hours worth of audio. And my average rating was 3.39 stars. So without further ado, let's just jump right in. So let's start with my physical books, just because get those out the way. So they're all my book club books. So this one is my book of the month. This one is my book club with my 2 best friends and my mama, and this one is with my friend Valerie. So let's start with the Return of Ellie Black, which was my book of the month pick. I gave this one 3.25 stars, and basically it's about a girl named Elizabeth Black who was missing for 2 years, and she resurfaces, but she doesn't want to participate in the active investigation to try to figure out what the heck happened to her, where she's been for the last 2 years, all that jazz. It's medium paced. I would say it's like a thriller. Not really a whodunit, but I guess kind of. Just as a warning, there is S.A. and grape involved and mentioned. You know, since we still can't say the real word on YouTube. It did take me a minute to get into this. So the first few chapters I was kind of like, meh. But once I did, I was hooked. I finished it in like a day and a half or something like that. It's not your average kind of thriller, which I kind of appreciated. And I like the twists that were thrown in. But I didn't like the ending. I didn't. And honestly, it maybe could have given it a higher rating if it weren't for the ending. But I feel like there were so many like loose ends basically that you don't really get closure for. So it's a dual point of view. It's told from Elizabeth's point of view, and then from the cop's point of view, Chelsea, who's doing the investigation of Elizabeth's case. And you kind of got like closure with Chelsea, the cop, but you don't get closure for Ellie. You don't get closure for any other of the other characters that appeared in the book, which I feel like if a book is called The Return of Ellie Black, we should at least have, like, you know, more of a closure for that character, if you know what I mean. So it was a good book. I just feel like the ending kind of killed it for me. That's why I only gave it a 3.25. So the next book I read was Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia, and I still don't know how I feel about this book. I finished it like over a week ago. Still don't know how I feel about it. Basically, the premise of the book is that Noemi is the main character of the book, and she gets sent a letter from her cousin Catalina asking for help. So Noemi's dad sends her there to like figure out what's going on and all that jazz, and she's trying to like get to the bottom of what's wrong with her cousin, and then also realizing that like weird things are starting to happen to her too. And it just was not, I don't know, it just wasn't what I thought it was going to be. I gave it a 3 stars. What else did I write? It's slow moving at first, very slow moving, and then like everything happened in like the last 100 pages, I feel like. Even at that, like the last like 50 pages maybe, because this book is only 301 pages. So it was very slow moving at first, and then like everything happened towards the end. And the best way I can describe it without giving away anything is it felt like I was watching an episode of American Horror Story. Take with that what you will. But that was this one. Okay, so the next one was Emma by Miss Jane Austen, and I know this one is a classic, and I feel like a lot of people love it, but I gave it a 3 stars, and honestly, it's a very slow start, and it kind of just feels like a giant gossip column. If I'm being honest, that's what it feels like you're reading. It feels like you're reading like a gossip column or like someone's diary or something like that. But I gave it 3 stars. It was a very slow start, and everything picked up in like the last third of the book, in my opinion. And I honestly did not like Emma at first. I thought she was insufferable. But then she kind of grew on me towards the end. She was a little self-righteous, in my opinion, and it just seems like she thought what, like, her opinion of people is what was, you know, the truth. But yeah, so she just seemed a little self-righteous. I didn't like her at first, but eventually she grew on me. But yeah, I gave it a 3 stars. I don't really have much else to say about that one. And then next we'll do audiobooks, because I'm really excited to talk about 2 of the books that were on my Kindle. So the first audiobook I finished was The Senator's Wife by Liv Constantine. And it was a quick listen. It was 9 hours and 8 minutes. So it was pretty quick. And again, I gave it a 3 stars. That's obviously a common theme with my books this month, is a whole lot of 3 stars. The ending is what saved the book for me, because I was so close to DNFing it, and I was like, no, Dominique, just stick through, you got this. And I'm really glad that I kept going, because the ending saved it for me, and it's what gave it a 3 stars. I honestly would have given it a lower score, probably, maybe like a 2.5 or 2.75, but the ending really helped. And it's basically about a woman named, what is her name? I already forgot. Sloane, a woman named Sloane who has chronic illness and stuff like that. She, at the very beginning of the book, her husband dies. It's like the first 3 pages in the group or in the book, so I'm not like spoiling anything there. And then she remarries to a senator named Whit Montgomery, and it's told from 2 points of view. It's told from, actually 3 points of view, because it's Whit, who is the new husband, Athena, who is Sloane's caretaker, and then Sloane herself. So it's told from those 3 points of view. And like I said, Sloane is a philanthropist, her husband's a senator, and it's just kind of her like navigating life after she has surgery. So she has lupus. I couldn't think of it for a second. But yeah, she has lupus, so she had to get a hip surgery, blah, blah, blah. And Athena comes into the picture because she becomes her caretaker while she's recovering, and it's just kind of like how those 3 people are correlated. But yeah, so I picked it because I loved The Last Mrs. Parrish, and there's actually a second part to that book coming out next month, I believe. So I loved The Last Mrs. Parrish. So I was like, ooh, let me try this one. And it kind of is along the same theme as that, where like you don't know the truth to the very end. But the rest of the story just kind of fell flat for me. I just didn't like it as much as I liked The Last Mrs. Parrish. So yeah, I gave that one a 3 star. Then the next audiobook I did was The Graham Effect by Elle Kennedy. Can you guess what I rated it? Right, 3 stars. So it's about Gigi Graham and writer, and Gigi's dad is a famous hockey player. He's won the Stanley Cup. He has his own hockey camp for kids now. He's a sports commentator. He's very established in the sports world, and Gigi is a female hockey player. And it's about Gigi and Ryder, who is also on the hockey team, the male hockey team. And basically, Ryder's his college closed, so they have to combine with the new school. And there's like 2 co-captains now, and there's Ryder, and then the other co-captain is Gigi's ex-boyfriend. And it's about them navigating through all of that, because these 2 schools were rivals, and now they're forced to like be friends and teammates and stuff like that. And I thought that since it was a sports book, I don't really think I've read like sports romances or anything like that. So I thought that since it's about sports, I would like it. And like I said, I gave it a 3 stars. What did I say about it? I thought you would get more of the hockey point of view since they are both hockey players. It was an easy read, or an easy listen, so I'm sure it would be an easy read. But honestly, the book could have been cut down with half of the spice scenes and maybe focus more on the actual hockey part. And like I said, I love the narration because I like Teddy Hamilton. And that's probably why I ended up giving it a 3, but it's pretty explicit with the 4 out of 5 for the spice factor. So yeah, I thought it was going to be more of like a sports novel, and it wasn't. So take with that what you will. And then the last audiobook was Unfortunately Yours by Tessa Bailey. I did read, what was it, the first one in this series, Secretly Yours. This book is about Natalie Voss and her fake marriage to August Cates. And the reason why she did it is because she needed her inheritance, and her dad had written in the agreement that the only way she would get her inheritance is to, 1, be employed, and 2, be married. So since she has left the New York scene and has gone back to California to be on her family's vineyard, she's looking for a new start. August Cates is a veteran, and he is looking to, or he has started his own vineyard in honor of one of his fallen friends. And he needs a business loan. So they decided to come together to, 1, be able to get Natalie her inheritance, and 2, to be able to get August a business loan, because if he's associated with the Voss family, he's more likely to get a business loan. So basically they come together. It's a marriage of convenience, and by the end they realize they have feelings for each other. So I feel like it was kind of like a predictable plot line, in my opinion. And it was a 3.5 out of 5 for the spice, and some of the scenes were just outright ridiculous. Like, it was outright ridiculous. It was unnecessary, in my opinion. I feel like there was a lot more character development that could have been added to the characters, other than just the fact that they have good sex. Because that's basically all it was. Like, oh, we like each other, let's get married to benefit each other, and then, you know, I don't know. It was whatever, I guess. I didn't like it. I felt like there could have been a lot more potential with the characters. They just weren't well written, in my opinion. However, so I think that was the last audiobook. Am I correct? Yes, so let's go on to talk about my Kindle reads. And the first one I'm going to talk about is Icebreaker by, what is it called? Hannah Grace. And this is actually the book that I picked to read with my best friends, Stephanie and Sonia. It's our June book club read. So guys, don't watch this one section of the video. But it was available. I put it on hold at the end of March, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get it on time, because apparently it's popular on Book Talk. But it did become available, and there were still people waiting after me, and I didn't want people waiting because I'm holding on to it. So I just read it and then returned it. And I gave that one I gave that one a 3 stars too. I swear, guys. The last 2 are higher rated. I can promise that. It's about 2 characters, Nathan and Anastasia. And Anastasia is a figure skater, and Nathan is a hockey player. And it's basically about their 2 sports. They have 2 ice rinks at their school. And one of them, the hockey one, ends up being destroyed. So they all have to share a rink. And it's basically about Anna trying to like overcome her OCD tendencies. And she's very, very type A. So like she has a planner of everything she does down to the minute. So her having to share a rink with a bunch of hockey guys is not where she thought her junior year was going to be taking her. So it's basically about them trying to navigate that change, and Nathan is the captain of the hockey team. And they have a bunch of up and downs and all that jazz. So for my review for it, I had very mixed opinions about this book because I did like the storyline, because I feel like there was spice in this book, but I feel like it wasn't just spice. Like when it comes to a romance book, a lot of the times it's just about the romance scenes and there's nothing else there. In this one, I felt like the characters had their own personalities outside of that. So I thought that was nice. Except for Aaron. Aaron is Anastasia's skating partner, and I hate him. Loathe him entirely. Like, burning rage, cannot stand this man. Okay, that's a little dramatic, but I really, really hated his character. But there was just too many sex scenes for me, if that makes sense. But it's just like, okay, we get it. We don't need it like a scene every other chapter. We get it. They like each other. They have great sex. Moving on. But the storyline was good. I probably would have rated it higher if it had less of the romance scenes, I guess. But there is a side character named Henry, and I really liked him in his book. And this says that it's the Maple Hills 1, which means there's going to be more coming out. And I really hope that Henry has a book in this series because I really enjoyed his character. And then for spice, I gave it 4 out of 5. So take with that what you will. Okay. The last 2 books I'm super excited to talk about. So if you watched my book review last month, I talked about The House Switch by Delum Hawk, which is my book club with my friend Valerie, and I gave that 4 stars. Well, this month I read the 2nd and the 3rd book in the series, and the 2nd and the 3rd book, it's basically just one large. It's basically, she could have made this like one big novel, but instead she just took it and split it into 3. So it's still the continuation of Finn trying to find his place as a house witch and discovering his powers. And you get more of his and Annika's love story and all of that. So that's what the 2nd and the 3rd book about. So the 2nd book I gave 4 stars, I believe. Let me double check that. I believe I gave it 4 stars, maybe even 4.5. I gave it a 4.25. That's what I gave the 2nd book. I really liked the 2nd book more than the 1st. So the 1st I gave 4 stars. This I gave 4.25. And then the 3rd book I gave 5 stars. So in the 2nd book, I said that Finn is really coming into himself, and then I enjoyed how we saw more of his relationship with Annika unfolding, and it was a good cozy fantasy read. And then the 3rd one was when like all the drama and the theatrics happened, where like the war that they were talking about since book 1 actually finally happens. And that one I gave 5 stars. And guys, there's not many books that get better with each one. I feel like either like it starts off really strong and then it's just kind of like, or it can be very up and down when it comes to the continuation of the books. But for this series, book 3 was my absolute favorite of this series. I felt every single emotion reading this book. It was honestly amazing. Like, I laughed, I got like, I didn't actually cry because I don't cry with books, but I got a little misty-eyed. Like literally every emotion. I laughed, I was angry, I was sad, I was amazed. Like all the good emotions that you want reading books, that had for me. So honestly, if you haven't read the House Witch series, I 10 out of 10 recommend it. I loved it. And like I said, that 3rd book, the way all the emotions that you get in it and the story and the way that it's written, absolutely loved it. I really recommend it. If you haven't tried that one, go ahead and read it because it was honestly amazing, and I can't say anything more without ruining it. And I don't want to do that. So if you haven't read the House Witch series, go read it. you won't regret it. And that's it, guys. That's all I have for my books for the month of May. What books did you read this month? Did you have any highs, any lows? Please let me know. Let's chat about it in the comments, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.